There's not a university or tertiary school or anything in the world that is not interested in how to protect their data. And it's not just the IT department asking, it's the university president, it's the provost, everyone is asking, okay, what are we doing to protect our data? In recent cyber studies, it's been saying that as much as 50% of the institutions have had some sort of attack. These systems manage people. So these are, alumni, they're students, they're faculty, they're employees. So this information is used and combined with what's available on the public internet. And then the identity is put into play and, credit cards are applied for, second mortgages are applied for. This is like a business to go and break down institutions, penetrate them, break them down, and then move the data through a process. You have a lot of folks that when the system was originally installed, they may have had elevated privileges to be able to do their job. They may not even know that they're not supposed to use those privileges to access data. You want to really have a set of rules that are set up that watch these sensitive parts of the system. Maybe they want to look up somebody else's salary to compare that to their salary, or look up grades. Heaven forbid that they want to change some of that information. You want to get to a layer where your data is encrypted. So if somebody's actually trying to access the data inappropriately without the system, that the data is encrypted. Because if the data is encrypted in today's modern technologies, it's very similar to how alarm systems work. The attackers will go somewhere else. It's not impossible to decrypt, very complicated encryption algorithms. They just go somewhere else where it's not. You want to create auditing rules and even block activity for certain areas of the system. If you know that there's an area of the system that you're printing checks out of, then you can set the system up so that only checks can be printed through that device, not from the dormitory or from, heaven forbid, the outside. And then the other thing you want to do is monitor. That's the first thing people want to know when something's been breached, is what exactly happened. And you don't want to answer that question like, I don't have the data, I don't have any rules, I don't know how many times this happened. We've obviously talked to universities that want to go ahead and do this themselves. And what I tell them is that you're going to have to figure out, what kind of scripts you need to encrypt the data. You're going to need to figure out where the important parts of your system is. You're going to have to figure out where to look for elevated privileges. You also have to figure out what not to encrypt. There is certain information in the system. It's system information that can't be encrypted or the system won't continue to function. And then the other thing is that I think they're going to hope and pray when the next release comes out, because they're not sure whether everything they've done is really going to work with everything that comes out in the next release. We're about to move from an 11G to a 12C database, for example. There's enormous implications when you're asking the folks that do this on their own, what's the impact of 12C? It may be, I don't know. Security companies, outside security companies, or partners that make some of the software that we use don't have the knowledge of Banner. They don't know what tables shouldn't be encrypted. And then they also don't have the business aspect of what areas of the system need to be monitored. Often these projects fail. A lot of people just don't know how to protect the institution, and this is where Ellucian comes into play. We're the experts. We've already thought through all of this stuff.